Hello friends, thanks for being here. This is Youheum, and for those of you who just met me, I'm an extreme minimalist living in a furniture-free apartment, and right now I'm making some dandelion root tea with homemade cashew milk to get started on your questions. So just to cover the most asked questions before diving into the detailed questions, a lot of you asked me what my religion was and what I do for a living, where I live, and what my origin is. So I am a spiritual Buddhist, practicing through the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh, and I attend a Sangha locally in Austin, Texas. And I also go to retreats like the one in Blue Cliff Monastery in New York. And I used to live in New York actually for 6 years before I moved to Austin last year. And here I live with my sister, who is an art therapist. I was born in South Korea, and my parents are both Koreans. And I am currently a freelancer who does design work and illustration work. So I'm a bit of a digital nomad who travels and who works at cafes and work from home. And some fun things that you might not know about me is that I like hiking, I like hammocking, I like kayaking. I'm a very outdoorsy person, and I love biking and tending to my garden. And I also practice self-help and spiritual practices like yoga, meditation every day, and I also do the healing code and EFT, which is the emotional freedom technique. And if you want to know more, I can go more deeper on my spiritual practice in my future videos as well. So that's just a little bit about myself before getting to the juicy questions that you have asked. So let's get started right away. So the first question is there anything that you would really like to own but can't justify to yourself? Yes, and there's definitely times where I want to get something, but it's not out of possessiveness or obsession. It's more like I'm thinking about the potential that object have. What is the experience that object can bring me by me allowing that object into my life? So for example, I recently thought about getting more plants in my home so that I can experience how beautiful nature is right in my home and indoors. But at the same time, I reminded myself that whenever I feel the need and the urge to connect with nature and the natural elements, I can always step outside of this home and experience that outdoors by going hiking or forest bathing or walking barefoot, touching the texture of this earth and really observing deeply and mindfully the beauty of this nature. So there is always an alternative offered to me by this world than accumulation. And when I have these urges, and to be honest, it is very tempting, but I also know that there is an alternative. There is a way for me to nourish myself besides buying another plant. I can always go outside and have fun and observe nature, observe the plants that are outdoors in its natural habitat. I did get a lot of questions on how I do zero waste during my moon cycle. So the question was, how about periods? What do you use? How do you care for? I feel like this question is such a valuable question for many people, and I'm so glad that you asked. And I use a period cup, a menstrual cup, and a organic cotton reusable pad. This way I don't have to use a single-use tampon or a pad. I used to use Luna's tampons, which is made of organic cotton, but that was creating a lot of waste. So I decided to use a menstrual cup about a year ago, and I really like how comfortable it is. I really like the brand that I'm using, which is from Salt, and I will link it in the descriptions below, as well as the organic cotton pad. This is so good. So the next question is, what are your thoughts on the trendiness of minimalism and an eco-conscious lifestyle, and of the eco-conscious consumerism it's generating? Awesome question, especially because it is so spot on with the current flow of things with minimalism and decluttering, simple living, and sustainability. I am genuinely happy that there are a lot of people that are interested in minimalism and sustainability. And of course, there's going to be wrong information and wrong knowledge, and there's going to be somewhat of a dilution in the amount of commitment people have for these practices. But I'm looking at the bigger picture because I feel that we're going to grow together, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and everyone doesn't have to be on the same level of things, because what's important is just rising to consciousness and rising the vibration of people and making more people more aware that this is a possibility and this is actually a way that we can thrive and be happy. And the purpose of that is to make minimalism, sustainability, and eco-friendly practices the default for this society. I'm actually going to do a whole video on this. And the question was, how do you feed your cat while being zero waste? So I feel that my cat deserves a little introduction first. So she is currently 9 years old, and we adopted her about 4 years ago in New York. So we really love her, and she's part of the family now. I'm not 100% zero waste, and I guess I would be more like low waste, but I am going towards zero waste. And at the moment, I'm feeding her a limited ingredient rabbit diet. And I used to try to feed her raw meat, but she didn't take to it. We tried quail and we tried rabbit. We wanted to also try chicken, but she's allergic to chicken, or at least low quality chicken. So we were looking for some organic options which were not available. But I'll also do a video on natural cat care, including the litters I use, like what toys I make for her, and what kind of bedding she uses. So please subscribe to my channel if you want to get updates on that new video. And the next question is, how did you live before, or how did you get to this lifestyle? I am very happy that you asked this question, and I'm very appreciative the amount of support and curiosity that you have for me. And I started minimalism 5 years ago, and at that time I was living in New York, and I was studying illustration at a private art school, and I was also in the fashion industry, drenched in high-end fashion and a lot of things to do with just purely aesthetics, and nothing really that touched me to the heart, nothing that really made me challenge myself. And I was kind of tired of faking myself and making myself presentable and perfectly presentable for others. And I was at a level where my anxiety was kind of getting in my way because I didn't explore my emotions and I wasn't available for myself emotionally. And at some point I got really tired of trying to hide myself and feeling so shameful and fearful that my vulnerabilities and my imperfect side would be exposed to the world, and people would be disappointed about who I am really. So at that point, I really needed some guidance, and I needed some teachers to allow me to be more confident about who I am and not so afraid of expressing myself, expressing how unique I am to other people, and not worry about fitting in and not worrying about being presentable for others. So the resources that I started with were written by Debbie Ford. It's called The Dark Side of the Light Chaser. And I also read Abraham Hicks, who teaches Law of Attraction and Deliberate Creation. And I also read Nonviolent Communication by Marshall B. Rosenberg, who is such a great teacher, who talks about compassion and how to express compassion and unconditional love for people and for myself. So I had some teachers like them, and I also learned from Thich Nhat Hanh, my teacher. I read his books and I watched his videos, and I was really interested in joining a Sangha at that moment. And I also joined a retreat program where I connected with people through my genuine self. And from then on, I wanted better control over my life, like the health and wellness and self-improvement part of my life. So I read the Diet for the New America and transitioned to a pescatarian diet and into a vegetarian diet and then into vegan diet. And I also read Goodbye Things by Fumio Sasaki, who allowed me to really shed my fear about material abundance. And he allowed me to think that abundance is outside of physical things, and abundance is not something that can be contained, and it is universal. And that really allowed me to get into the physical aspects of my life and get rid of the things that no longer nourish me, get rid of the things that kind of distract me from living a focused lifestyle. So I had all these amazing, confident, and smart teachers teaching me throughout my journey, and they really helped me find what I really need to do in my life to feel happy, which is to be genuine and to be down to earth and to express unconditionally and to cultivate joy and happiness through love. The next question is, why do you only wear and decorate with muted colors? Does it have anything to do with the dyes or dyeing process? Is it just personal style? So I do like to decorate with muted colors, and same goes for my sister. We've always been attracted to natural materials like wood, and we also like a pop of green or rust, something that's very aligned with the natural world. But of course, in nature, there's also vibrant colors. But I feel that artificially created vibrant colors are very stimulating for me. So I always prefer to go for natural colors like cream and camel color, burnt umber, some sienna. And I do also like a little bit of coral and forest green. For the second part of the question, I do feel like it's important for me to avoid chemicals as much as possible, like chemical dyes and toxins used in creating these colors in fabrics. But of course, I can't avoid it 100%. So I just try to do my best by buying undyed hemp and linen, and try not to get bleached cotton and jute fibers, and those are more of the fabrics that I go for. And the next question is, do you see yourself maintaining, decreasing, increasing, or ceasing this practice in the future? Is this a temporary phase in your life where you're pushing towards the limit for the experience? What are your goals in this? Such a great question. And it applies to many people because it's something that a lot of people struggle with, which is consistency and how to maintain that consistency, and if that consistency is going to last for the rest of my life. And I feel like I'm a very flexible person and I'm very forgiving, so I don't try to live a life that is set to stone, and everything is constantly flowing and everything is changing. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes for me to be happy. So it's not really about finding the ultimate happiness at the end of this journey. It's finding happiness on the way and appreciating what is presented to me on the way in this present moment. And the next question is, can you talk about your fruitarian diet? I have read different things about it, and I'm curious as to how you get protein and other nutrients fruit don't have. I admit that a fruitarian diet is not for everyone, and I'm very happy and grateful that you're curious and you're open-minded about exploring and you're concerned about my health. So I feel that fruits and vegetable has all the nutrients and values that I need for me to be healthy and happy. And I can say this because when I eat fruits and vegetables, I feel so good, physically and emotionally. I have a clear mind and I don't feel bloated and sluggish. And when I don't eat these food, when I eat processed food or cooked food or food with a lot of processed oil in it, I don't feel good. My body doesn't feel good. And to answer your question directly, I get protein from broccolis, from spinach, and other green veggies. And of course, I can get more protein if I eat meat, but at the cost of what? And that's something that I was debating for a long time when I was a pescatarian and when I was transitioning to a vegetarian. And the answer for me is that it's not worth it. But it's different for everybody, and it's okay to eat whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. And for me, my values are different, my needs are different, my belief is different. And it's okay to have contrast. It's okay to think differently. So I feel like I just have to give up on trying to stretch with this cat that's all on my lap. So next question. Can you tell us what your family members in general think of your lifestyle? And I'm very grateful for your kind words and thanks for enjoying my video. My family members are very curious and they're concerned at the same time. And they don't really bother with me to the point where they would be like, don't live like that, or they would criticize me or have negative reactions. They're just curious and they're just amazed that I live like this. And I feel that my family is very nourishing and very open-minded, and they care for me, and they will not resist my choices, resist who I am by setting up conditions for love. Like, for example, they don't say, I will not love you or care for you or support you just because you don't live with furniture or just because you're vegan. But if that's something that you're struggling with and that's something that you need help with, I can always do a video on how to deal with negative reactions or negative people against certain lifestyle choices. I feel like this is something people might be interested in, especially if you're starting out on minimalism or if you're trying to be an extreme minimalist and let go of your furnitures. And if you're a vegan or raw vegan, there's a lot of resistance, and I feel like a lot of people need help with that when they're not able to really maintain their boundaries. So I will definitely do a video on that if you want, and please let me know in the comments below if that's something you're struggling with, if that's something you need help with, because I'm here to support you. I'm here to be insightful and helpful for you. And this is the last question, and it is, what do you do with money? What's a budget if you change to minimalism compared to regular expenses? What are you saving for? I save money and use my money for sustaining my life and for entertainment and experiences. So the basic things like rent and utilities and bills are covered, and after that I use it on traveling and exploring, like paying for the membership for my community garden and going to retreats, signing up for retreats, and for travel expenses like food and rental places and rental cars. I consider myself a frugal minimalist, and I don't really buy a lot of products to sustain my life because a lot of products that I have are reusable and they last for a long time. I also want to add something because a lot of people ask me how I make money, and I have multiple sources of income, which includes my illustration and design work, and I also get support on my Patreon page. So if you're interested, I will put the link in the descriptions. And I also get collaboration deals and sponsorship. And that's how I maintain my website and how I purchase the gears that I need to film this video and other videos. So to be honest, there are months where I make less and there are months where I make more. So there's an instability in the financial flow that's coming in. But that's okay because whenever I can, I save up and I live frugally. So my monthly expenses usually stays the same throughout the whole year, besides the travel fees, which is in a different account so that I can kind of separate my necessities and my entertainment. So that's something that's very important for me in order to sustain this unpredictable lifestyle. And if you want to know more about freelancing and how you can work from home and how you can be financially independent, I will do a video in the future on how to grow your own business and how you can do a freelance job instead of a 9 to 5, if that's something you're interested in. Thanks for all the valuable and thoughtful questions that you asked me, and I would love to continue our conversation and do another Q&A in the future. So please drop any of the questions that you have in the comments below. And if you like this video, give a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel if you have not done so yet. And I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for joining me.